Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
The task of each motorist, as one of the road users, is to show maximum attention on the road, especially when crossing a crosswalk. Otherwise, you can hit a pedestrian, cripple him, and in the worst case, take his life. What is a crosswalk, what it is, and what are the rules for crossing this road section established by law? We will tell in this material. Legal definition of the sign, pedestrian crossing, crosswalk is a road section, which is created specifically for the safe crossing of the roadway by pedestrians. A special sign is used to mark the crosswalk. It is made in the form of a rectangle, in the center of which is a black man crossing the road. Another sign of a crosswalk that can be found on the road is road markings, which today are made in two colors, white and yellow. Previously, there was only white. Varieties of crosswalk. In accordance with the current traffic rules, the main varieties of crosswalks, regulated, located directly on the road, and all traffic is regulated by means of a traffic light installed nearby. Unregulated, also located on the roadway, but without a traffic light installed nearby. The pedestrian in this case has priority over motorists. Underground and above ground. This is a special structure that is designed specifically for the safe movement of pedestrians away from the road and cars. Also distinguish another type of crosswalk, which implies the presence of an area of increased safety on the road. In other words, island of safety. This is a special type of marking on which motorists are strictly prohibited to move. As a rule, it is located in the center of 2 or 4 lanes of traffic. From all sides, this crosswalk is delineated by thick white stripes or is limited by a special stop line and a corresponding sign. Rules for crossing a crosswalk. The traffic rules set out the relevant rules that state the order in which motorists must pass through a crosswalk. Depending on the varieties and peculiarities of a particular road section, these rules may differ. Let's analyze in detail how to pass this or that type of crosswalk, regulated crosswalk. In this case, traffic lights must be installed for both pedestrians and drivers. Crossing a stretch of road, the pedestrian must pay attention to the 2 main traffic signals. Red, traffic is prohibited, and green, traffic is allowed. With motorists, the traffic light has no differences from those that are installed at ordinary intersections. In the event that the yellow signal flashes on it, then the pedestrian automatically acquires priority on the road. Unregulated crosswalk is a type of marking for the designation of which the corresponding sign is used or a special identifying traffic light with a flashing yellow signal. On such sections of the road, the priority of the pedestrian over motorists is established. Read also full information about the sign, bicycle lane, rights and duties of pedestrians at a crosswalk. Despite the advantage at the crossing, the legislation establishes a list of duties for the pedestrian, which he must observe at the moment of crossing the relevant road section. First of all, he must make sure that motorists give way to him. If he sees that a motorist does not give way to him, he is obliged to stop, let the moving car pass, and only then continue moving. And, despite the fact that the pedestrian participant of practical in all situations will be right, such behavior will save him from a possible accident. According to the law, people can cross the road only in specially created for this purpose places. As noted earlier, they are indicated by an appropriate sign and a road zebra. Despite their advantage even on a regulated road section, a pedestrian is obliged to look around. This way he can save his life if an unscrupulous or inattentive driver suddenly appears on the road. Duties of motorists. When a driver sees a crosswalk and the corresponding sign on his way, he must slow down and be ready to stop the car just before a pedestrian planning to cross the road. This rule also applies to those situations when traffic is regulated by a traffic light installed near the crosswalk. The motorist also has the full right to pass the road zebra, even when a person is walking on it, but only on the condition that it does not create a threat to his life. For example, a stretch of road consists of 4 lanes. Accordingly, the road zebra in this place is very long. Therefore, if the pedestrian is on the other side of the road relative to the car, the motorist has every right to continue driving. In those situations where the pedestrian participant has priority and the motorist for some reason did not miss him, then the latter will be obliged to be punished. Penalty for improper movement on a crosswalk. The car owner who did not miss the pedestrian on the relevant section of the road, according to the established legislation, a fine is provided, the amount of which is from 1,500 to 2,000 rubles. It can be received directly from traffic police officers, by mail from special cameras that automatically record all road violations. In the first case, the motorist needs to be especially careful. If the police officer stopped him and immediately began to fill out the form of the resolution, it must be refused and in no case put a personal signature. Formalization of violations that require an evidentiary base and subsequent proceedings is carried out exclusively with the use of a protocol. It records all the circumstances of the situation, its participants, and after that all the materials are sent to the court. Thus, the whole process of registration should look as follows. The traffic police officer is obliged to stop the car, the owner of which did not miss the pedestrian on the relevant road section. After stopping the driver, he must call the pedestrian traffic participant who did not give way, and at the end draw up a protocol. Read also, installation of a hydraulic handbrake with their own hands. The second version of the penalty includes all the evidence that shows the car, its state number, as well as the pedestrian, whom the driver prevented from crossing the road. To challenge such a penalty is very difficult, but in some cases it is possible. Situation in which a pedestrian may be at fault. The priority of a pedestrian at a crosswalk does not mean that this road user is always right. Sometimes there are situations when a motorist may not be to blame for the fact that a person suddenly jumped out on the roadway. In such cases, the court usually sides with both parties and determines the need for mutual compensation for damages. For example, if a pedestrian suddenly jumped out onto the road and the motorist noticed him only at the last moment, both are at fault. The pedestrian must pay for the damage to the car, and the driver must pay for the necessary treatment. However, even in this case, there are certain exceptions. So, for example, if the court cannot prove the fact that the damage to the health of the pedestrian occurred not through the fault of the motorist, then the second participant is not obliged to compensate for the damage. In addition, if the driver, trying to avoid a collision, damaged not only the car, but also harmed his health, the pedestrian is obliged to reimburse the amount for both the repair of the car and the treatment of its owner. Algorithm of actions in case of a collision with a pedestrian. The worst situation that can happen at a crosswalk is a hit-and-run collision. If a motorist hits a pedestrian, he or she should act according to the following instructions. Stop the vehicle and turn on the emergency lights. Ensure that the vehicle and the hit pedestrian are safely on the roadway. Immediately call for medical personnel and traffic police officers. If necessary, provide first aid to the victim. Wait for the arrival of specialists and formalize the accident in the manner prescribed by law. Summarizing all of the above, once again note that the crosswalk, a section of the road, on which it is necessary to maintain special attention to both pedestrians and motorists. In case of violation of the rules and the occurrence of accidents at the crosswalk, it is important to act strictly in accordance with the law. And most importantly, in such places in no case should not be in a hurry, as otherwise it may lead to irreversible consequences. In conclusion, understanding the concept of crosswalks is essential for both pedestrians and drivers. We explored the various types of crosswalks, including marked and unmarked, and highlighted the importance of adhering to the rules that govern their use. By following these guidelines, we can enhance safety and ensure a smoother flow of traffic. Remember, awareness and respect for crosswalks not only protect lives, but also contribute to a more harmonious road environment for everyone. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there.